Okay, let's dive into something. Well, something quite extraordinary today. We're working with just one source, an audio recording, but it presents this uh, really wide-ranging set of claims.
It really does. It jumps from, mysterious things deep underwater to claims about other planets, secret spots here on Earth, and even predictions about global politics and economics.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack. Our mission here in this deep dive is just to explore what this source claims. We're looking at its assertions, how it connects these pretty surprising ideas.
Exactly. We're not bringing in outside stuff, just trying to navigate the world this specific source presents. It's quite a narrative.
It really is. It paints a picture of, like, hidden realities and maybe big changes coming. So let's get right into it. The source kicks off with a really striking claim about a huge object on the ocean floor. What does it say?
Well, according to this source, a big piece of evidence for hidden stuff is this massive object found moving near the Queen Charlotte Trough. It suggests it could be the size of Guam.
Wow. And it gives details on how it looks too, right?
Yes, it does. It says it's like gouging the ocean floor. And looks like it's on rollers. The source is very clear. This isn't natural, not some big sea creature.
Hmm. On rollers. And there's a claim about how long it's been there and whether we can see it.
Yeah, the source asserts it's clearly been down there for millennia. And a key part of this is the claim that Google has actively painted out or hidden this object on maps. So you can only see the gouging marks left behind.
Okay, paint it out. What does the source think it's doing down there? Its purpose?
It kind of wonders aloud, what it's looking for, what it's doing, and then it suggests from its perspective, maybe this thing is actually helping to stabilize the planet somehow.
Interesting. Stabilizing the planet. Now, sticking with underwater anomalies, the source brings up another weird object somewhere else, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It talks about an object found by scuba divers. This one's in the Baltic Sea between Finland and Sweden.
Okay, the Baltic.
hmm
And how does the source describe that one?
According to the source, well, it says there's a clear landing path leading to it. And the object itself is sitting up on some kind of pedestal.
A pedestal. And there was some international reaction to this discovery, according to the source.
Yes, the source claims that both Russia and the U.S. warned each other, basically, to stay away, keep clear of this specific object.
Okay, so from the deep sea, the source then kind of zooms out, right? Makes claims about uh, alleged extraterrestrial stuff, secret bases
Yeah.
on Earth and off-world.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge theme. It claims there are alien bases on the moon, and it actually cites Wikipedia for that specific claim.
Wikipedia, okay.
And then it also claims there are bases on Mars, but for that, it tells you to check google.r, the Russian domain, saying they're visible there, unlike on NASA's views where they're supposedly painted out.
Google.r, that's specific. What about secret bases closer to home? Antarctica comes up, right?
It does. The source alleges there are 9 secret bases down there. 9. And it gives this really vivid detail. Pilots flying supplies are apparently given a map, and they're told, if you fly within 150 miles of these spots, you'll be shot down.
Shot down. Wow. And it links this to Admiral Byrd.
Yeah, it connects it back to Admiral Byrd's, famous expedition to Antarctica.
The source also mentions a historical meeting.
Uh-huh. It brings up that alleged meeting in 1954 between President Eisenhower and extraterrestrials at Griata, which some link to Edwards Air Force Base.
Right, I've read theories about that.
But then the source claims that whatever happened there, whatever deals were made, they're now null and void, completely invalid. And it ties this directly to the U.S. supposedly going into default.
Default. How would that void an alien treaty? Does it explain that?
It doesn't really explain the connection, no. It just presents the U.S. default as the reason why that 54 agreement is off the table.
Okay. And there's another really specific claim about Mars. A joint mission way back.
Yes, this is a big one in the source. It claims the U.S. and Russia landed on Mars together back in 1962, using alien tech to get there.
62. Wow.
And it goes further, saying there's a video of this on YouTube, claims the U.S. took it down, but the Russians put it back up.
Okay, so alien tech, joint missions. How does the source fit things like meteors exploding in the sky into all this?
Well, it claims those aren't meteors at all. It says what look like exploding meteors are actually large aircraft or maybe spaceships. And it connects this to something it calls a space war, referring to it as the blackout.
The space war. The blackout.
Hmm.
Okay. And lastly on this topic, the source mentioned the CIA releasing UFO files. What's its take on that?
It sort of questions why they were released then, and it makes this odd comparison, claiming that when the files came out, the U.S. only had like one flying saucer, but Nazi Germany had loads of them. It uses this to ask, who really owns this tech?
Right. So shifting gears a bit from space and Antarctica to underground, Diego Garcia comes up. What's the claim there?
Yeah, this is interesting. The source talks about seeing things online, supposedly showing underground bases beneath the airfields at Diego Garcia. But then it claims those images were actually painted in there just to start a conspiracy by NASA, and then NASA painted them out again.
So fake bases painted in, then painted out.
Yeah,
But the source did find something else nearby.
exactly. It claims that just north of Diego Garcia, it found a real underground city. And this, the source says, they didn't paint out, though it adds these kinds of cities are generally very difficult to see.
A real underground city. And what about Diego Garcia itself? How does the source describe the base?
It calls it a military base, obviously, with planes carrying powerful nukes, and mentions a landing field for cloaked bombers. And then there's this really specific, kind of strange claim that most of the B-52s there got washed off by just a 1-foot tidal wave.
A 1-foot tidal wave washed away B-52s.
Okay. So then the source seems to pivot pretty hard towards more immediate global concerns, like a planned conflict. Yes, this feels like a central warning in the source material. It flat out asserts there's a planned nuclear war, timed for mid-August and early September, and it attributes this plan directly to Obama's planning, or maybe his handlers.
Obama's planning.
Yeah.
And it tries to connect this to things happening around the time the recording was made.
It does. It links this alleged plan to a G7 summit Obama attended, saying the economies of those countries were crumbling. It also points to riots in Turkey happening during a UN human rights meeting there, framing it all as part of this tense buildup.
And the source uses astrology to back this up.
Uh-huh. Very specific astrological interpretation. It highlights 2 Gemini full moons, May 22nd to June 21st. It says Gemini means duality, like east versus west, and this is setting up a move towards single rulership.
Okay.
Then it says Cancer starts June 21st, the summer solstice. And according to the source, Cancer means war. So it explicitly claims this whole astrological sequence is designed for economic collapse and full-scale nuclear war.
Wow. That's
Good.
detailed.
Yep.
Then it brings in the UN. Something about radiation and time.
Yeah, this is another really startling claim. It reports on what it says is a UN broadcast, claiming the UN believes high radiation levels can actually stop time.
Stop time.
Yeah, and that after a huge release of radiation, there'd be a rebuilding leading to only one ruler, and this ruler would be controlled by the personality of Lucifer, as the source puts it.
Oh.
It even says the broadcast hinted this might happen perhaps this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot. The source also claims assassination attempts are part of this whole picture.
It alleges 2 recent attempts, one on Trump, supposedly stopped by the Secret Service, and one on Obama, which it claims the Russian KGB stopped. It even thanks Putin for that.
Thanks, Putin.
Yes. And it links these alleged attempts back to trying to start that nuclear war, maybe by sparking race riots.
So with all these claims about war plots and manipulation, the source has a specific call to action, doesn't it?
It does. It explicitly calls on people to pray that the Rothschilds mafia falls apart and their attempts at nuclear war fail.
Okay. And alongside the war warnings, there are also claims about the economy collapsing, specifically about banks.
Yeah, it claims that right when the recording was made, the Bank of London and the Boston Federal Reserve Bank are down, and that large accounts are being taken down.
Taken down how? Does it say who's doing it?
It does. It specifically blames Anonymous, the hacktivist group, claims banks are being taken down by Anonymous right then, as you speak.
Right. So given this whole picture, hidden objects, aliens, secret bases, impending war, economic collapse, the source ends with advice, right? Get ready.
Absolutely. It tells listeners to prepare. Lists specific things: food, water, toilet paper, ammunition, heat, and communication. Basic survival stuff.
And one last thing, it encourages getting involved with something connected to the source itself.
Yeah, it urges the listener to get involved with companies we represent. Says this will be extremely important very soon. Doesn't specify what those companies are, though.
So, yeah, we've just walked through this incredibly complex and interconnected story presented by this one source.
It really weaves it all together, doesn't it? From ancient objects under the sea, alleged ETs, secret bases, underground cities, all the way to predicting imminent nuclear war and economic doom, tied up with politics, astrology, even spiritual forces.
It's definitely a narrative suggesting there's a whole hidden layer to reality shaping events and that, well, maybe huge changes are just around the corner. We've really just focused on laying out what this specific source claims, the details it provides.
And what's fascinating is how it connects those dots. The deep sea things, the alleged Mars landings, current politics, economic fears, astrology. It all gets pulled into this one overarching narrative of hidden hands and a looming crisis.
Which leaves a big question for you, the listener, to think about. Yeah. When you encounter a narrative like this, so vast and detailed, covering hidden history, alleged secrets, predictions, how do you even begin to assess the picture it's painting, this reality just beneath the surface of what we usually see?